Hello. There's a line we hear often in political speeches. The Bible says, or one nation under God, they might say. Those phrases are meant to stir something in people pride, unity, a sense of higher purpose, but really, they're just fusions of religion and nationalism designed to secure one thing obedience in the population. Obedience to whom? To systems that exploit, manipulate, and constrain, and of course, hoodwink. You're told to be a good citizen. That means being selfless, but only in ways that serve the state and corporate interests and religious institutions. Only under the banner of a flag, only when approved by faith, as if empathy needed a priest or a president to validate it. And of course, half the time they're preaching a lack of empathy or outright hatred against other people. They sort of alternate between the two. They go back and forth between preaching outright hate and pretending that they actually care about the people. Well, let's face it, most of the time they don't, or at least half the time. So let's talk about control. Most people think the strongest tools of control are surveillance or prisons, the panopticon, Big Brother, the eyes in the sky. But that's not quite it. Sure, those are powerful tools, but they're certainly not the only ones. The most powerful tool for shaping minds isn't a camera, it's a classroom, it's a church. To some extent, it might be the home. More specifically, it's anything that indoctrinates people, that teaches people there's only one way, or that the other ways are inferior. And I think most people can fall victim to this or be guilty of it. It's a very common phenomenon. Religious education doesn't just teach kids how to read or do math, it teaches them what kinds of people are good, what kinds of lives are normal, what kinds of questions are dangerous, and it starts early. Take Leviticus. There's a passage in there that says, "You shall love your neighbor as yourself." Well, that sounds good. It's what a lot of people believe religion should be like. That sounds noble, but who defines neighbor? If you're taught that your neighbor must look like you, act like you, dress like you, then love becomes conditional, doesn't it? Exclusion gets framed as moral clarity. And suddenly, conformity isn't just expected, it's godly, and it may be mandatory if certain people have their way. Now, here's where I split from a lot of modern atheists. Some of them, not all, don't engage with these deeper questions as much as they should. They don't want to talk about power or coercion or institutional authority so much anymore. And they don't convey the point that many atheist style critiques of religion just as easily carry over into critiquing other beliefs and institutions, such as the government. Atheists will question why anyone needs a pope, which is a good thing to ask. But how many of them ask why we need a president? They just want to dunk on religious people for believing weird things, and most of them will, be pretty content with that. They'll call it a day. Maybe not most of them, but a sizable chunk of them. But what does that actually accomplish? Instead of asking why potentially dangerous, ultimately authoritarian belief systems hold such appeal, they settle for sarcasm. Instead of challenging the structures of ideology, they just mock the participants. And that can be fun and it can be necessary, but that's not the most thorough and daring form of rebellion. It can also just be intellectual laziness. Because again, we can question things like the need for a president as much as we question the perceived need for a pope. And frankly, a president can be more dangerous than a pope, or not just a president, but any leader that has a lot of power. So let's be honest, religion has done damage, no question. But scorched earth critiques of just religion miss the point. If the Catholic Church dropped its ban on contraception tomorrow, how much do you think would actually change? No doubt it would be a good thing and some things would change. But would human nature be transformed overnight? Of course not. Would people become vastly freer, kinder, more rational? I'd like to think so, but probably not, because there is still this anti intellectual culture surrounding us, a culture that falls short of questioning a wider range of expectations and ideologies. Also, what do we gain by obsessively attacking religion without offering something more meaningful in its place? And I would say that's not much, actually. We don't get that much if we're just attacking religion. So, when the only goal is to feel smarter than someone else, all you're really doing is feeding your own ego. That can be fine and maybe even necessary to an extent to, feel superior to some people. It sure is common enough, so there might be something to the idea that it is necessary. But it's not all that revolutionary, is it? It's more self congratulatory. So here's another question. If morality doesn't come from a pulpit or a podium, where should it come from? And who gets to decide what's good? Actually, to a surprising extent, and in more situations than you might think, it's you who gets to decide those things. You get to decide what is good, what is right or wrong, what is smart, what is stupid. And don't forget that. So it's a power that you should use wisely. And I know we all fall short of being perfect, but there's always room for improvement. That's the good thing about that. Anyway, this has been Critical Weight Theory, or CWT. So if you found this episode thought provoking, share it, or better yet, start a conversation about, what I'm talking about here. Until next time, stay skeptical, stay kind, and keep asking the good questions.